Yo, what's going on, guys? Got a haircut, got an announcer for the next few videos because somebody's going to go in the comments. Did the Dansby Swanson from the Atlanta Braves? But let's get right into today's video and let's talk about the way too early season previews of the Minnesota Timberwolves. As you guys know, I'm a Minnesota Timberwolves, Washington Wizards, Orlando Magic fan. My dad's a Boston Celtics fan, so I'm kind of a Celtics fan. Yes, I'm a three-team guy. If you've lived in as many places as I have, you would understand. First jersey I ever owned was Kevin Garnett. I got a Michael Jordan Wizards jersey right there. And if I point this camera up, this is from my first basketball game I ever went to. Wizards versus the Magic back in like 06 or 07. Gilbert Arenas versus Dwight Howard. Now we're going to talk about the Timberwolves and why. For the first time in my life, since when I owned my Kevin Garnett jersey, my first Kevin Garnett jersey, which was my first basketball jersey, I've had hope for this franchise. Maybe even more hope than when we drafted Andrew Wiggins. Actually, the most hopeful I was ever for this franchise when Ricky Rubio came over back in 2011. Man, that year when Rubio came over, young, like 11-year-old me was so stoked. But either way, Rudy Gobert and all this stuff, let's talk about it. As you guys can see, let's talk about the moves they made as a whole, as a franchise. So July 1st, Nathan Knight, Jake Layman, Greg Monroe, Josh Okogie, and McKinley Wright IV all became free agents. On July 6th, Rudy Gobert and a trade exception were acquired by the Minnesota Timberwolves in return from the Utah Jazz in exchange for Malik Beasley. Thank God we got rid of him. Pat Beverly. That's sad. Leandro Balmaro. Mi familia es de Argentina. My family's from Argentina. So sad that we saw Balmaro leave because I was really high on him. I love my Argentine basketball players and my Italian basketball players and my Serbian. I'm an Italian, Argentine, Serbian Jew. Jared Vanderbilt. Walker Kessler. Also, the picks are worthless. Next year's first, that'll be a late first round pick. The 2025 will be a late first round pick. A swap for the 2026, and then in 2027. The picks aren't worth anything. We gave a super max to Karl-Anthony Towns. We drafted Wendell Moore and kept them. Slow-mo, Kyle Anderson was signed to a deal. Bryn Forbes was signed to a deal. Austin Rivers was signed to a deal. Nathan Knight was signed to a deal. And Josh Minott was signed to a deal. Also, I'd like to apologize. I said since we had drafted Josh Minott, Josh Minnow, because I thought that's how you said it, like the fish. Because I thought sometimes when you have that double T, that does happen. But maybe... So it's Minott. I heard it from a few beat writers. So right now the roster looks... Also, we signed AJ Lawson to a two-way contract. So keep an eye out on him. And yeah, so right now the current roster looks like Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Slow-mo, Taurean Prince, Rivers, Wendell Moore, Bryn Forbes, Jaden McDaniels, Jordan McLaughlin, Jalen Noel, Naz Reid, Nathan Knight, and Josh Minott and AJ Lewis. We could bring back McKinley Wright, as we did offer him a qualifying offer. So that is something that could happen. And I think it'll be interesting to see if we add any other Exhibit 10 contracts. And because we did have our David McCormick from KU, but he signed a deal with the Turkish Basketball League team. I don't even know. I don't even remember what team he signed with. Oh, Biska JK. He played for us in the summer league. Either way, what do I think the lineup is going to look like? We'll talk about every player. I think the starting lineup is going to be D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, probably, I believe in my mind, Taurean Prince or Jaden McDaniels at small forward, and then Karl-Anthony Towns at power forward, Rudy Gobert at center with Naz Reid backing up Rudy Gobert and Nathan Knight as the third string center. Then you'll have a power forward backing up Karl-Anthony Towns will be Kyle Anderson, with the third power forward being a combination of, I believe, Naz Reid, Taurean Prince, and Jaden McDaniels, depending on the lineups they go with. Backup small forward for either Taurean Prince or Jaden McDaniels will be Taurean Prince or Jaden McDaniels, with a combination of Wendell Moore and I believe probably Austin Rivers and maybe a little bit of Josh Minot if he develops right. Our sixth man will be Jalen Noel, with Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell being the backcourt, and Jordan McLaughlin, Bryn Forbes, Austin Rivers, and Jalen Noel and Wendell Moore all taking turns rotating in. And obviously the bench, like I've mentioned throughout, Jordan McLaughlin, Austin Rivers, Bryn Forbes, Jalen Noel, Wendell Moore, Kyle Anderson, Taurean Prince, and Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid will all rotate. Right there, if you look at that, we're going to have a lineup of arguably a 9. We're 9 to 10 guys deep. Right here, let me list off the guys that are part of this rotation. Towns, McDaniels, Edwards, Gobert, Russell, McLaughlin, Noel, Rivers, Forbes, Prince, Slow-Mo, Reed. That's like, we have like 11, 12 guys, like, and obviously we'll have a solid 8 to 9 man rotation, which if I had to choose the 8 to 9 man rotation, starting lineup for my sake is Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and D'Angelo Russell, with the first guy off the bench, Jalen Noel. Second guy off the bench, Taurean Prince. Third guy off the bench, I would personally put it as Kyle Anderson. And that's already 8 guys right there. And then Naz Reid and probably either Bryn Forbes or Austin Rivers for shooting or defense. And I like that. I mean, they still can bring back, if they wanted, McKinley Wright, Greg Monroe, or Jake Layman. But if we talk about every player in their role, so Karl-Anthony Towns, he's going to be playing power forward, maybe sometimes center when Rudy Gobert's off the floor. I think he'll have a career scoring year. He's going to look completely different, and I think he'll be better defensively because he'll be playing against a lot more power forwards. Now, Rudy Gobert, I think he'll have his best offensive year, and honestly, he'll probably have a career year now in Minnesota. Naz Reid's going to be the third string center, not the third string, but the backup center, but third string in the front court behind Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns. But he's the third guy in that rotation, but he's the second string big man, with Nathan Knight being the third string big man. And Nathan Knight, they're going to develop him because Naz Reid's contract is expiring, so he could be used as a trade asset with our man, because they have a few. Like, don't be surprised if at some point, if they don't like what Russell's doing, that they package like Russell and Naz Reid together and they send them somewhere. But Naz Reid's in a contract is expiring. They don't expect to keep him. So I think they gave Nathan Knight a 2-year deal with a team option in the second season, so that if they do like him, they keep him for another year and they have a backup center to replace Naz Reid next year, Nathan Knight. So don't expect Nathan Knight to do much. Kyle Anderson is the primary backup power forward for Karl-Anthony Towns. Expect him to do similar to what he did for the Memphis Grizzlies, be a secondary ball handler, secondary playmaker, and expect that to work out pretty well for them, in my opinion. And then he'll play like 20, 25 minutes a night. I think you shouldn't be worried about it, and I think this is a team that Slow-Mo is perfect for. And like, look, this is a team that I know people are. We'll probably be the best defense in the regular season. Then Jaden McDaniels is their Swiss Army knife, 3-and-D, shot blocking, 6'10", wing, and then they have a 6'8" wing. Taurean Prince, also a 3-and-D guy, but more of a perimeter defender. Jaden McDaniels can do post D and perimeter D. Jaden McDaniels should start, in my opinion. He's a freaking stud, okay, who was misutilized in college, and they love him. And then Taurean Prince is the backup there, with Josh Minnow being the third string, and Wendell Moore also being the third string, splitting reps there. Then their shooting guard is going to be Anthony Edwards, with Jalen Noel being his backup, and a combination of Wendell Moore and Austin Rivers. Of course, I got to finish this video again because they wanted to crap it out. So let's run through this. I believe Nathan Knight will be, as I said previously, I don't even know where I left off in this. Jordan McLaughlin will be the primary backup point guard for D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell can't have a repeat of his postseason, or I could see them shipping him out of there. But Jordan McLaughlin literally was so much better in the postseason. So don't be surprised if Jordan McLaughlin get some minutes if Russell struggles, but I don't think Russell will struggle. I think he'll work on his game, and he had some self-reflection, and it will be better for him. Then right there, like I said, Bryn Forbes will just be some shooting off the bench. Austin Rivers will come in for some defense. I don't expect to see much Wendell Moore or Nathan Knight or Josh Minot. Matteo Spagnuolo will spend another year or two in Italy, it seems like, or with Real Madrid. He is signed to Real Madrid, but he could go on loan. And with that being said, I think with the rest of the moves this team could make, it's very scarce. Like, there isn't much that they need to do. This is a good team right here. Probably the best defensive team in the NBA. They'll have the best regular season defensive rating, I believe. And personally, I think this is a top 4 seed in the West. This is what everybody is saying. This isn't just me. Everybody agrees they're going to have one of the best regular season records, one of the best regular season defense. This team during the regular season will be legit. Now it will come down to the playoffs. This team can't be a second round exit. This team will definitely make it to the second round. This team needs to make it to the Western Conference Finals. This team needs to make it to the NBA Finals. This team is championship or bust for the next 3 to 4 seasons.